Hello, you're watching GMT.
(2012) NPP presidential candidate Akufo-Addo announces he will seek the party's flag bearership position for the 2016 polls. Authorities of the Ghana Gas Company say they will begin processing gas for commercial and domestic use by end of June 2014. Human Rights Watch say the United States should cut back security assistance to Uganda in response to the country's new anti-gay laws. All that and more coming up on News Today with me, Kemini Nyamani. I'm on our details shortly. Thanks for joining us on News Today. Akufo-Addo, two-time presidential candidate for the New Patriotic Party, today announced he will contest for the flag bearership position for the party ahead of the 2016 polls.
Though I will forever regret that I could not lead the party to victory in 2008 and could not secure a declaration of victory in 2012. The party can be proud of what we have been able to achieve together for Ghana and by extension Africa as a whole. I thought about the huge disappointment that our loss brought to us all. I thought about the passing of time and the fact that I shall be 70 years old in a few days' time. I have asked hard questions of myself, and I've taken the opportunity to see my doctors both here in Ghana and in the United Kingdom. And the fire that burns in my belly with the desire to lead Ghana.
Let's go live to the home of Akufo-Addo, where he made the announcement. Some of the MPPs on the floor. Let's take a listen.
This announcement, do you think he might go unopposed?
I don't know about others. I only know whoever says will contest. So until anybody declares, I'm not in a position to determine who will or will not contest. In terms of going unopposed, I think it's early days yet. We do not know what is going to happen. What we do know is that today, something that was bothering and agitating the minds of many Ghanaians, especially MPP sympathizers and party activists, has been resolved. Nana-Addo has declared that he is running. It is up to others who believe they also have public support within the MPP and out there in Ghana to come forward if they so desire. We are willing and able to compete, but the message is that compete vigorously and unite strenuously. Unite with all your strength, with all your might, behind the winner of the competition. That is the MPP, and that is where we've elevated it to, and that is what Nana emphasized today.
Let's talk about the issue of his age, right? Don't you think your competitors, the NDC, might capitalize on it in 2016 to say Nana-Addo is 72 and they are the younger candidates, and so vote for our candidate instead?
The NDC capitalizes on everything, including lies. The last time they said they were of the independence generation. I'm afraid if this is all the independence generation can offer, we are embarrassed. I was born in Ghana and I'm embarrassed. This is a government which has been identified as telling lies, 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 and only lies. Go and look for the 2012 report of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee in oil. They say the government misapplied all oil revenues, and yet the government's official spokesperson on the economy, the finance minister, stood in parliament and brazenly lied about it. What do we have? A government that lies about everything, and we are going to worry about them lying.
So let's talk about Nana Addo's age.
Yes, he said it himself. He said he's going to be 70 years young very soon. We have seen other leaders in the world who have performed tremendously well, including Ronald Reagan, who ran, I think, at 71, Abdou Diouf, I think, at 74, Mandela at 76. There are others. It doesn't depend on age. It's politics works in eras. Probably in this era, what we are going to see is very mature, experienced governance, a sound hand on the tiller, because the deficit in governance is extremely high in Ghana. We simply do not have a government now. What we have is governance by thuggery. What we have is governance by buga buga. What we have is a government which is not in control of anything. And so the damage that has been caused to the national psyche needs to be repaired with a hand which is totally experienced. And to Nana's credit, he has over 40 years worth of politics in Ghana. That is experience that will be very difficult to beat.
So now that Nana Addo has announced his political future, it's all new. He will contest the Flagbearer. What next for the NPP?
I believe we are going for our national elections, and I am a contestant in those elections. I'm running for General Secretary of our dear party. This time, I sincerely hope, and indeed I believe strongly, that delegates will be on the same wavelength as I have been with them, and that they will make me General Secretary of the party. Immediately we've resolved the national elections, we'll take it from there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Let's go over the telephone now and speak to the Greater Accra NDC Chairman, Adekoka. Thanks for joining us on News Today, Adekoka.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How does this come to you?
Well, I've been listening to Nana Akufo-Addo, and for me, I think nothing has changed. There's something called political gimmicks, and that is exactly what they are doing. Everybody knows that Nana Akufo-Addo was going to run for the Flagbearership of the NPP, but to make it look as if something is have this kind of comment, I call it comment, for people to think that there's something new happening. Something new is happening. This country must move forward. He left the country and went out for about 6 months, and he has come back. It's a form of trying to appease those who were angry with him about this all die to die mantra. I thought he would have denounced the all die to die mantra and moved this country forward. But then it's the same old wine and old bottle. That's exactly what we are hearing.
Thank you very much, Adekoka. Adekoka is Greater Accra NDC Chairman. Let's talk to Eric Curtis Howard, who is Joynews' correspondent. He's there at the residence of Nana Addo Dankwa's, and he's joined us over the telephone. Hello, Curtis.
Hello, Kamini.
Right. What more can you tell us?
Yes, as we speak to you now, I would describe it as a fanfare here at the Nana Akufo-Addo's residence here at Nima. The parties who came here, to them, Nana has met their expectations. The announcement was good news enough, and they are so elated. They are just hanging out in small groups, and they are discussing, and they are so happy. They are dancing and everything. But you see, there is an issue as to whether Nana will go unopposed or there will be other likely candidates. And for most of the supporters there, it's an issue of let Nana go, and because they believe that he has the goodwill of the supporters of the party, and he can secure victory for the party in 2016. So the situation here, Nana has still not entered into his room yet. He's still on the corridor of his residence, and he's greeting the supporters, because each person wants to have a chance to greet him, to have discourse with him, to congratulate him, to tell him thank you. So he's just going around greeting people, and he's interacting with the supporters to take more of their consent and act accordingly.
We'll get more from you later. Thank you very much, Eric, for joining us with that. To move on to some other stories now. The Danish government is partnering the Accra Metropolitan Assembly with a technology that will see to the end of dumping fecal matter into the sea. This technology processes human excreta, squeezes out the water and it turns it into manure and processes some fall gas. President John Mahama this morning visited the project site at the Lavender Hills, and Mayor of Accra Alfred Akufo-Addo explains the importance of this to the president.
The past 1 year, we've been testing it, and it has worked very well. Mr. President, every day we have 170 of the separate trucks that dump into the ocean. Currently, for the past 8 months now, about 40 to 45 trucks have been dumping into this system that we have constructed. It's one of the best things that has happened in Accra. It is our hope that in the future, in the very near future, we will build about 2 more right here so that we can stop, for the first time in the history of Accra, the traditional way of dumping into the ocean. Mr. President, the beauty of it is that when we finish this project, we would now continue this. But this can go to another area of the country to be used.
This technology that we've seen, the Danish technology, even after we fully operationalize the new liquid waste sewage treatment plant, the MUDO, we would want to apply this technology in other parts of the country to be able to treat the waste. And the beautiful thing is turn the waste into compost and supply it to farmers, to be able to fertilize their farms. And so we would want to work with the Danish embassy and see how we can put in a project to identify some of the urban centers that still have problems with discharge of liquid waste, to be able to process that waste using this technology. And I'm sure that it will make our environment a much safer place.
Very elaborate process. Now, the University of Ghana has written to the Minister of Education to explain its road closure policy. The Minister of Education, Professor Nana Obukwajima, had demanded a report following a massive chaos and complaints that greeted the implementation of the policy earlier this week. A response letter from the University of Ghana to the Education Minister said an average of 16,000 vehicles drive through the campus every day with no business on the campus. According to the University of Ghana, in addition to the difficulties created, the roads experience acute deterioration as a result of heavy traffic. The statement noted various efforts to obtain budgetary support for the maintenance of roads failed. According to the University of Ghana, a statement was released to the general public on 27 February 2014 on the implementation of policy of restricted access. The university added with numerous education campaigns, the likelihood that any motorist using the road was unaware of the new requirements was certainly minimal. Deputy Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, Vincent Oponwa-Samoa, says government is working diligently to make an additional 150 million gallons of water available by 2015. To this end, government is discussing a public-private partnership module with a safe water network to develop efficient community water delivery systems across the country.
Several across Ghana continue to battle with access to potable water. Ghana's capital, Accra, alone has a water deficit of 57 million gallons. Private organizations such as the Safe Water Network is helping bridge the water deficit by developing modules of safe potable water delivery in the various communities in Ghana. They have already put in place 15 systems to serve about 30 communities.
And we will be this year putting in another 8 to 10 systems serving an additional 15 or so communities. So our expenditures in Ghana are roughly $1.5 million a year. We're a not-for-profit organization. We focus about 40% of those expenditures on putting in new systems, demonstrating their viability and potential. The balance of the effort is really focused on testing different ways of introducing systems.
Although the systems have proven successful in communities they are run, they are working fervently on its sustainability.
We form a board just like any company, and then we have the management team, we put the operators all from the same community, and then we provide them with the guidance. We open a bank account for them, they read the meters, we check the revenues. Whatever revenues they collect has to be reconciled with the water that is produced, and it goes to the bank account. And we keep that money for them. They have control over the money. We use the same money to pay for the operators and to pay electricity bills and other expenses. And at the end of the month, they have to prepare a financial statement. We know that the expertise to do these things might not be at the village level, so we also give them training until such a time that we feel that they are comfortable to take over the systems, and then we'll pull back.
The Save Water Network is meanwhile in talks with government to develop a PPP module aimed at enhancing water delivery in the country. Deputy Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, while welcoming the Save Water Network systems, explained that government will continue to engage the private sector to expand water production.
Now we have a lot of expansion work going on. If you go to Pong, there's expansion work going on. We have already done something at Weja, and then if you also look at the desalination plant at Teshi Nongwa, there are a lot of ongoing projects that is going to add up to about 150 million gallons by the end of 2015. By 2015, we are going to produce more in excess of demand in Greater Accra area alone. But most of this investment, it takes time for you to realize the benefits of it. But we are giving ourselves up to 2015, where we'll be able to, the production capacity, at least we will get to that level. What is left is the distribution. How we'll be able to distribute to all those who really need. And I think one area that we have to also take care seriously is the issue of tariff and the payments. How people cannot illegally tap from our pipelines, and how we can ensure that we are able to make a lot of income to sustain the process.
Vincent Opon-Asamoah urged contractors to secure permits and plan well when putting up buildings in order not to block waterways, as has been the case.
Inadequate office space for managers of the Chifohiman Lower Dentra Health Insurance Authority is hampering the smooth running of the scheme. Officials have to perform their normal day-to-day registration outside the office premises due to the huge number of people who troop in to either renew or register for the scheme.
The scheme was started about 11 years ago and serves over 1,500 communities with a population of 140,000. A visit to the area on one of the market days saw long queues of potential beneficiaries waiting for their turn outside the premises of the district assembly. Public Relations Officer of the scheme, Edward Beidenagri, tells Joynews government would have to come to their aid sooner to establish a spacious office, so they can serve the many people who come in for one service or the other.
You normally come and see people queuing because the space is not accommodations enough. So that's the major problem here. And then people find it difficult coming here unless it is market days. So they come here only market days. That's why you see them on market days. There are too many here. So we think that the other side of the story too is we're dealing with networking. Sometimes there will be downtime. This is also another challenge. So they come and then we can't work with, or we can't give them, we can't feed them, or we can't satisfy them because the network is not working. We have to tell them to go back and they are not satisfied.
The claims officer of the scheme in the district, Elijah Sam Danso, also touched on the delay in reimbursement, underscoring the fact that most of the facilities complain of delay in payment of claims.
And another issue with the facilities is we have most of the facilities not submitting their bills on time. Most of them, you see, they will not submit the bills on time, so we cannot have enough time to work on those claims. That's one of our major challenges, and in effect it will contribute to the delay in payment of those claims.
He expressed hope that the authority would give it the needed attention. Georgina Pierce reports from the Central Region.
Let's go back to our earlier story where Nana-Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has announced his interest to contest for the flag bearership position for the NPP ahead of the 2016 election. Joining us over the telephone is pollster Ben Epson. And good afternoon, Ben.
Good afternoon.
Should we expect Nana to go unopposed?
Oh, I don't think that Nana is too good to go unopposed. I mean, he definitely wins, so, and I believe that definitely Dr. Akufo has declared his intention to contest Nana-Addo, and now maybe one or two people will come up, not because they may win, maybe somebody like Jogati if he throws his hat in, if they want to register his name for 2020 and beyond.
And his chances with these people will be?
Oh, if more than, I mean, he's a favorite now. I mean, in the MPP now, there is the pro-Nana-Addo and anti-Nana-Addo. Anti-Nana-Addo meaning maybe somebody wants a Preku, somebody wants Ajikostel, somebody wants Alan Chamakin. If Nana is even 40% popular, the 60% will be split by 3 or 4 people who will contest him. So for the MPP's Congress to elect the Flagbearer, he's a favorite to win. The important part, I think that Nana-Addo for his third attempt, wanting to go beyond becoming just the MPP Flagbearer, he'll want to go a step further and win the general election. That is where the challenge will face. Not him as Nana-Addo, but a party. Let's
look at the bigger picture, which is the general elections. What would Nana-Addo, what are his chances? What can we say about Nana-Addo?
I haven't done any polls yet, but I'm basing what I'm going to tell you on 2008 and 2012.
Right.
Any political party which suffers a high level of apathy in this stronghold will find it very difficult to win elections. As you and I speak now, elected executives in all the 10 regions have come to Nana-Addo's house and have called on him to contest. Without Nana, they said, don't vote for anybody. Now, if you support somebody else to win, to lead the party, what they are doing for Nana now is creating a lot of apathy for him. Because if you are Preku, for example, if you go to the region to campaign toward the flag bearership race, I'm going to call on a chairman who has come out openly to support Nana. Towards 2016, what this creates in the party will be apathy, that the executives have not given him a fair political playing level, and his supporters will fold their arms. That is going to be a challenge because apathy hit NDC in 2000 in the Volta region, and for 2008 and 2012, apathy has hit NPP, and if they continue, it's likely to hit them again in 2016.
Will there be a way out of this? I mean, using the same projections?
I think that if the party elders are able to ask people, for example, if you get people coming from a region to support Nana Kolana, when you get elected executives, I think the important point is that they must not let the others feel that they are being shortchanged. Because now the fear is that when I come out, a leading member comes out to complain. If you remember, within the last few weeks, any attempt by leading members to sort of maybe criticize the way elections are going to be run is met with insults by others. When that happens, you get people withdrawing. Not that they'll go and vote for NDC or CPP or PPP. They'll just not turn out to vote. That's what the party must work on towards 2016.
Nana's message for election 2012 was free senior high school. Along the line with the Mahama administration, we get progressive senior high school. You saw the kind of debate that's generated. And we have Nana who wants to contest for 2016 as well. With a background given, should Nana become flag bearer at the end of the day for the NPP, should we expect him to win over some floating voters as well?
Well, I'll tell you what an elderly woman told me. I'm going to translate it in Twi. He said, if somebody says, I have meat for you, I'm roasting it on the fire. And somebody says, I'm not going to go to the bush to get the meat and come and roast it. Which one will you prefer? Yes, it's in the Constitution that it should be free SHS. To be fair to Nana, he made it his campaign message. If in 2015, John Mahama and the NDC are able to start the process of free SHS, The secondary schools that he intends to build are up to a appreciable level. The gas supply comes in, there's a stability in supply of electricity. Nana-Addo and the MPP have a tougher mountain to climb.
So then, Nana contesting 2016 does not necessarily mean that some floating voters will go on the side of the NPP.
24 months is a long time in politics, but I must state one thing clearly. Nana-Addo is MPP's best bet, and they have no other choice.
I see. And then there is the age factor. Some people thought that, I mean, Nana himself, admits that he says stuff like that. And he in his response, he said he's chosen careers that have no retirement. And should age be a matter for him?
Age is a matter of mind. He'll be 70 on 29, and I'm sure there are politicians who are 60 years who can campaign harder than at 60 years. So I believe that he's checked himself out. And clearly, I don't think that he's going to campaign as vigorously as he did in 2008. He has to be more strategic now, as he's not going younger. But it's not the age who to be against him. It depends on how strategic his team is going to be. Because another is one person, and those who are going to help him can damage him or help him. Age, I don't think, will be a factor.
Thank you very much, Ben Efson. Ben Efson is pollster. Move on to some other stories. And authorities of the Ghana Gas Company say they will process in gas by June. I'll tell you that when I return. Thank you very much for staying on News Today. Let's do some business stories now. Authorities of the Ghana Gas Company say they will begin processing gas for commercial and domestic use by end of June 2014. This, they say, will help reduce the power outages currently being experienced in the country. According to the gas company, construction work on the Akufo-Addo gas plant is over 80% complete. On completion, the plant will draw gas from the Jubilee fields to power the Abuazi thermal plant, among others. Concerns have, however, been raised about whether the gas processing plant can be completed on schedule. The Ghana Gas Company has so far spent 2 years, 3 months executing the gas projects. Right now, so the African Development Bank Chief Economist, Professor Mitulu Nkubi, has expressed confidence in government's measures aimed at addressing the country's current economic challenges. He says he's hopeful the measures will yield the desired results, although a lot more international support is needed. A report by Gifty Ndopia.
President Kwesi Arthur at the Flagstaff House to discuss AFDB's analysis of Ghana's situation. Vice President Arthur described the timing of his visit as very important for, quote, free discussions, unquote, of Ghana's economic situation. He noted growth has not been as expected, but said fiscal policies have been targeted at turning the situation around.
We discussed a number of options and specific measures to consolidate the fiscal position. You know that we've had significant fiscal imbalances. We are determined that this year we have to correct them so that in 2015 and 2016 the economy will get back on the growth path. The growth exchange rate has been under pressure. The central bank has taken some actions that have slowed down the rate of depreciation. We hope that over time they'll be able to reverse the trend.
Professor Nkubi said the AFDB intends to focus now on energy and education as its contribution to helping Ghana out.
We understand what they are, the macroeconomic imbalances, but we also believe that the government is determined to make sure that these challenges are overcome. We have full confidence that they will be overcome. But of course, Ghana can't do it alone. It does require support from partners, global partners such as ourselves, African partners such as ourselves. But we'd like to do more in the energy sector, in the ports, and the roads, and we've got other projects coming up in the higher education sector, because skills development is very important. There's never enough money from any government to invest in roads and in infrastructure. So the private sector is a very important partner.
The African Development Bank was instituted in 1964 to promote economic development on the African continent. Its focus on Ghana has been infrastructural development. Joynews, Flagbearer House.
The re-registration of SIM cards is likely to take off in 2015 following the announcement by the National Identification Authority that it would complete issuing ID cards by the end of this year. Communications Minister Dr. Edo-Domane Boama last weekend hinted of another round of registration using only national IDs. This, he said, was because of alleged fraud associated with the registration last year. Meanwhile, the National Identification Authority says they are planning to deploy some new equipment for the national ID registration this year. The exercise is expected to bring some additional cost to the mobile operators because they need to fund the exercise. International business now. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration has said the design and manufacture of Boeing 787 Dreamliner is safe. It has ordered a review of the plane after battery problems grounded the entire fleet last year. The Federal Aviation Administration said some of Boeing's suppliers did not follow industry standards for inspection. That includes training and testing equipment requirements, for inspectors. But it said effective processes have been implemented to correct issues that arose during and after certification. The 787 Dreamliner is considered to be one of the most advanced planes in the industry. However, it has been hit by a series of issues. Last year, its entire fleet was grounded by regulators amid safety concerns. That was after a fire in one of Japan's airlines' 787 Dreamliners and a battery fault forced an all Nippon Airways flight to make an emergency landing. Biggest U.S. automaker General Motors is recalling another 1.5 million vehicles for repairs, pushing the company's recall total to more than 3 million in the last month. Chief Executive Mary Barra vowed to change the company culture and deal quicker with auto manufacturing defects. The latest recall involves concerns about brakes, seats, belts and airbags on several recent models, including sports utility vehicles, vans and top-of-the-line Cadillac sedans. GM, the world's second biggest automaker behind Japan's Toyota Motors, recalled 1.6 million older models in February for defective ignition switches that shut down vehicles while they were being driven, disabling the airbags. That's it for business, but Baba Tando brings us sports action after this. Don't go away.
Good afternoon, I am Baba Tando. I have the latest in the world of sports. Get the cowbell. Now, head coach of the Black Satellite, Stella Tete, says he has a fair idea of players who will make his squad for the upcoming African Under-20 qualifiers in a few weeks' time. Now, the team has rounded up with their justifiers, and coach Stella Tete tells Joy Sports he's sure the core of his team.
Well, now we've got the mainstay of the team, because we've done 3 screening exercises. We've picked 30 out of the screening exercises. Now we're going to start our main project now. So from the night we enter camp, then we start working. Then from there, we eliminate by substitution until we get the best for the country.
How difficult is it for you to select a pool of players like that, and at some point you have to phase them out?
I'm enjoying it. Making friends, seeing new players, trying to unearth talents. It's a lot of enjoyment, a lot of interest, entertainment, and I'm enjoying it. Though it's difficult, but I've been going through this for a pretty long time, and definitely you cannot satisfy all. You do your best to the best of your conscience and see what comes out of it.
Away from Ghana now, and Real Madrid coach Carlo Ancelotti says he already knows his starting lineup for Sunday's eagerly awaited El Clasico League match against Barcelona. Victory for Real would move them to 73 points, 7 points clear of third place Barcelona with 9 games remaining. City rivals Atletico are currently second in La Liga with 67 points. Coach Gerardo Martino's Barcelona defeated Real Madrid 2-1 at the Nou Camp in October's league match and led the league, but the Catalan giant has slipped up recently, losing 3 games in the last 7. Real remain in contention to win the treble. They play Barcelona again in April's Copa del Rey final and look like one of the strong favorites to win the Champions League after easing to a 9-2 aggregate win over Schalke 04 in the last 16 of the UEFA Champions League. Arjen Robben has signed a new contract at Bayern Munich as the club remain insistent on staying on the most revered side in Europe. The Dutchman has been highly influential since moving to Allianz Arena 5 years ago and is enjoying one of his better seasons for Pep Guardiola, including a scintillating hat-trick against Schalke 04 earlier this month. Now, Arjen Robben's compatriot from Netherlands, Robin van Persie, scored a hat-trick as Manchester United beat Olympiacos 3-0 to reach the Champions League quarterfinals. Here are highlights of the game. Right, now Borussia Dortmund reached the last 8 of the Champions League also despite losing to Zenit St. Petersburg in the second leg of the tie. Last year's finalists carried a 4-2 aggregate lead into the home leg, but the Hawk reduced the deficit when he fired in a sensational 25-yard shot. Fiorentina will be hoping for a case of third-time lucky when they host Juventus in the UEFA Europa League last 16 later today. On English side, Tottenham Hotspur will be playing Benfica in the second leg of the Europa League last 16 tie. Benfica beat Tottenham 3-1 in the first leg. It's a wrap for sports on News Today, brought to you by the candidacy of Carbell. My name is Baba Tando. News continues after this break. Do stay on.
In arts and entertainment, sometime last year, a man named Obobi Jeremiah took Sarkodie to court over his sack collection. The two were in court not long ago, and Sarkodie's lawyers filed his defense in court. Now the two, Sarkodie and Obobi, are ready to face the court for the issue to be treated. Well, I understand that the story isn't ready. We'll bring you that story in subsequent broadcasts. Let's get to New York City now. And authorities there say the death of fashion designer Ren Scott has been ruled suicide by hanging. The cause of death was announced by the Office of the Medical Examiners after Scott's body was discovered in her flat by her assistant on Monday. Police earlier said there was no sign of foul play and no note was also found. Scott's long-term boyfriend, Sir Mick Jagger, postponed forthcoming Rolling Stones tour dates in Australia and New Zealand after her death was announced. Sir Mick earlier said he fails to understand how his lover and best friend could end her life in this tragic way. Well, that'll be all for the hour. Let's check out our headlines again. "2012 NPP presidential candidate Nana Akufo-Addo announces he will seek the party's flag bearership position for the 2016 polls. Authorities of the Ghana Gas Company say they will begin processing gas for commercial and domestic use by end of June 2014. Human Rights Watch says the United States should cut back security assistance to Uganda in response to the country's new anti-gay laws. Pardon us for the few hitches there, but it's been fantastic coming your way this hour. Find more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amana. Goodbye.